Does everyone have time to look at the minutes?
Yes.
So approval.
You want me to approve?
Yeah, I need you to both to approve, and then you will step up, right?
I second.
Yeah.
Listo. Diana and Jackie.
And that was after.
Yeah. I know.
So there are no changes to the, or revisions to the minutes, we'll go ahead and approve them as they exist. Do you have any public comments? You want to sign up for public comments?
No problem.
So number 4, discussion and possible action regarding old business. It's just discussion, possible action regarding the DRC yearly strategic plan. And the idea here was that we were gonna go back and look at the plan and see if there's anything that you all want to include or add. Remember, if you wanna go ahead and finish what we have on our page right now, which is the old business as well. So are there any items that you all want to present as new strategies or new initiatives that we want to move forward with?
Maybe, these letters that were sent,
Yes, ma'am.
maybe now a letter to Henry Wayne.
Where were you when we were doing this?
The same one, which is Henry Wayne.
No, there's two. There's two.
Did we talk about it already, about Henry Wayne?
I don't think we're talking about him.
Right, because he's always saying he's bringing money.
Yeah, so we sent it to both state representatives.
Right.
Which is the senator and the state representative. That time it's our favor not to, my favor not to remove it. So yeah, I can send it to everyone, just send it.
I think it's election year or something. Is it an election year?
Yes.
Okay. That's what you do.
Yeah, but you forget the Trump's in charge.
Yes, but he's been sending money for this and that, and it's like, okay, put the money away.
Okay. No, we can
He's
include
taking
it,
money away, oh, yeah.
so we'll go ahead and include it right to get you going to Korea as well.
Thank
Thank you for bringing that up. So I pushed down new business, but it's old business from last meeting, but it's new in the sense of, so again, we're gonna go ahead and call your
Yes.
child neurologist.
So I did call, Dr. Johnson many times and left many messages. And yesterday she was in Laredo, so the parent that was over there with her actually conveyed our message personally. And she is going to get back to me.
Okay,
Okay, so finally we connected. So once she gets back to me, we'll talk about a Google meeting at whatever time. It doesn't have to be through this meeting itself, but now she has everything. I mean, I left so many messages that the secretary would say, we already gave you her other message. We already gave. It's like, I know, but she hasn't called me. And I understand they get busy, but it's like, okay, there was a whole lot. For the district attorney, the same thing. He is out of town this 2 weeks. Prior to that, I believe he was on vacation, so now he's on conferences. Once he comes back, they're going to give him the message, and I think in 2 weeks I will personally go over it, once he's here. Okay, so he can talk to us and we can, first of all, the receptionist didn't understand me, and I got a message from legal aid to see if my son was in trouble, and I was like, no, that's not what I meant. That's not in trouble. So I got different messages, and I was like, no, this is what I need. We want to talk to them as a Blue Ribbon Committee, so that we can set up or look at the procedures that are there when a person with a disability is arrested. We want to know what goes on. And finally, somebody understood me, and I was like, okay. And they called me, and we talked, and they're like, unfortunately, he is not in town, and then these 2 weeks he's gonna be out of town. I said, okay, that's it. I'll just reach back. Okay?
Thank you.
But that's what I have.
Thank you for doing that for
No
representing the
problem.
group. We're moving forward. So item 5, presentation reports and updates. Item A is update on public health autism surveillance program by Alonso Olivares.
Yes. So let me go ahead and start off. So really good news. We have a new data request in, so we're gonna get from one of our major health sources. So that's great because we're gonna get a large influx of data in for this next surveillance year. And that's for our data period. We're always kind of waiting for them to go ahead and send the data to us because it does take a while to compile, especially the fact that we're expanding our surveillance area. It's many more counties rather than just one. So they have to go ahead and filter and do all stuff. They can send us data so we can do what we have to do for our collection. On another note, we have an event coming up. I know a lot of you have signed up already, or maybe you don't know, but we have flyers here. I'm gonna pass them out right now. We have an event next Tuesday, the 24th. It's gonna be held at the UT Regional Campus by LMC, and it's called From Data to Dialogue, Autism and Programs Unveiled. So it's our data release event. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and present our findings based on our study. So we're gonna show the national findings as well as the Laredo findings. And so we could do that comparison and just explain, first of all, who we are. And also in case, for instance, new members on go who have no idea who we are, or people who have questions that maybe they're familiar with our program, but they're not too sure and they want to learn more about it. We're gonna explain who we are, what we do, and also show the great work we did during year 1. And then, kind of have a projection and hopes for the future for year 2 production, which is happening currently. And also we have some other speakers joining, so it's going to be a great event. I'm going to pass this out right now. There's a QR code where you can go and register. Also, for any agencies that are interested in providing additional copies to either the office or want to go ahead and distribute it themselves, go ahead and let us know. We can go ahead and get your email, we can send you a copy, and then you can distribute that at the office. Or if you guys are good parents, or you want to send me, we have on the email on this, and you can blast that email, we can do that too. Just let us know, and we can provide information as needed, so we can go ahead and sign up, or at least on the other board, okay? And we can tell somebody else. But yeah, we have a little QR code here, and go and scan and register, and great. I don't know if you have any questions currently, but it's basically our 2 major updates. It's our event that's happening next Tuesday, and also the fact that we are progressing with our data request efforts.
I'll also have a question. So when let's say you distribute it to us, to distribute to our office, do you distribute that in a PowerPoint? Is it like what kind is there a video or?
So what we can do here is, especially for you, so if we all can make it, let's say maybe it's only you want to go ahead and present to someone else, you can set up a date and we can go to you.
Okay, great.
And we can give a presentation.
All right.
I think that's usually the best thing to do. Just because we can provide
Like all the users.
Yeah, so we can give you a copy of the presentation. We can go ahead and give you a physical presentation as well.
That's great.
That'd be great.
I would love that for our staff. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Because I know that for our staff, we usually have a staff meeting every month, and we get up to date with all the stuff that's going on. And I think they would really benefit from that information.
Yeah, of course. We could go ahead and send that. We could discuss that and make a date.
Sounds good. I love that.
But yeah. Anything else? Anyone else?
Do you have handouts for everyone?
I do. Yeah. I'm gonna.
We'll get those now.
Yes.
Can't you give it to me?
If somebody has a question.
Yes.
I'm scolding the man.
Oh, it's done. I know, right?
But honestly,
Together, can't sit together, you whack me out. I need to go over there with the girls if you want mine.
I'm gonna go for sure. Yeah. And we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can take one and pass it down.
July 17th.
Yeah, thank you. Jenny, how have you been? You're so quiet.
Good. It's been busy.
Quiet is good, ain't it?
I don't know that I've been quiet, maybe you're, but no, you know, so I'm gonna do a little announcement. I'm gonna pass it out.
Yes,
yes, you should.
Yes,
Pass it around. There's 3 different ones.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, just grab it.
One, two, three.
I don't have any reflections. I just have this really last. We actually have a event coming out in October.
So I said, we already have information or data regarding the community and and this is very indicative of what's going on in Laredo.
We do, the only thing I would say, and we'll talk about it during our actual, presentation, and I don't know if Ms. Matthews wants to jump in. My only thing is, we have a good reputation of how Laredo compares to others. So we can go ahead and see, early identification, for instance, how we're lacking compared to other places in the US. We could see, also, we have the lowest prevalence, and the question is why? One major thing I could mention is that we didn't have, every school district, we get data from school districts and from health sources. We didn't have every school district participate. So we were missing data there. So what we have in that first year, kind of it's a good reputation, but it's not the complete picture of Laredo. That's the only thing I would mostly preface, because that's my biggest concern was we're representing Webb County, but it's not the complete picture. So I think it'd be best to include, have both school districts, and if we're working on this year, hopefully it works out. But that was an issue last year.
And could you publicly say what the school district is was?
No, I
Can
mean,
you whisper in my ear like that? So I can go and get it all the way over
I
here.
know it doesn't leave much to imagination because there's.
Yeah, you know, there's only two, L and U, tell me.
Give me
We can tell you who put these here.
But, I mean, that's something I would say that's the one thing to keep in mind when looking at the numbers.
That's skewing the data, that is so skewing the data.
Yeah, but you know what, one of the good things about it is that you can approach, if you start from the top from the school district, everybody else has a buy-in. So if you start with your superintendent, I know we're meeting with them, they will, I think both districts will respond, but if you go straight to a department, sometimes it stays there. Did that for 30 years.
You talk to the board members.
You
might know
saying,
one.
you
Yeah, might know
might
one.
know some board members
You might know a
out
board
there.
member.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I'd put anyone, on the spot there, but I mean, that's the only thing I would say coming into this, but it does show, even like this with, half of the city, for example, it does show how much we're lacking compared to other communities. In the sense, I mean, the major one, in my opinion, that I find, most concerning is early intervention. But also, we could see that, since we have low prevalence rates, it could be the fact that we don't have many people diagnosing here in Laredo. It's not until they get to the school system, and then they go ahead and get tested, and so we'll be seeing a lot of other neighborhoods as well. So, there's I think the highest prevalence is in California, and it's really close to what the national average is based on the study. And I'm pretty sure they have way more programs and, compared to, again, we're talking about a portion of San Diego County, which is massive, compared to Webb County. So, I mean, you can see as it goes to major, cities and major areas across the US with high population densities, the difference, the disparities based on the programs that they possibly have. Again, we don't know the programs that they have, but we could go ahead and see the difference there. We have grants, so hopefully you all can make it, or we could go ahead and give this, if you don't make it, we could probably give a small presentation, maybe next PRC as well, because we'll have the slides available, and we can kind of show you the difference between us and the other sites across the US.
I think what I would be interested in seeing is at what ages is the percentages, or the percentage differences? And the reason being because, autism isn't really diagnosed till, you have PDD, progressive developmental disorder, and then when you can give a diagnosis. I'm wondering if in our area, we're missing, early intervention as opposed to, because it does make a difference. I know that in San Antonio, we work with target individuals in San Antonio, and the interventions are right away, it's like getting into, seeing neurologists and stuff like that, as opposed to early identification, and maybe the culture makes a difference also.
Culture makes a difference.
Which is like very interesting because again, we're the only site that, I mean, not the only site that's primarily Hispanic, because we do have Puerto Rico as well. But we have, we're the only one on the border. Everything else is in major, like city, metropolitan area, so. And yeah, culture, I believe plays a big role in it as well.
Hopefully a lot of parents will attend and give you, their testimonials about it, because I can tell you, culture played a big difference in my son's big diagnosis, and he was diagnosed when he was 3, okay, because I refused to listen to grandma and everybody else who said, he's a twin, and there's always one that talks more and less, my mom. And then my grandma throwing them under the bus, my poor mom and my grandma. She said, los niños siempre se tardan más para hablar. So imagine if I would have waited with these things that my family, they meant well, but they were telling me. And I knew it. I was like, no, there's something missing here. It's not just because he's a twin or because he's a boy. I could feel it. There was something there for me. So, and he was telling me when he was 3, okay? Because I could see it, and his pediatrician told me, I can't diagnose it, but he's like, I think this is what he has, and sure enough, here you go. The school district took longer than the whatever months that they're supposed to take, but this was 95, remember, a long time ago.
One of the growing trends that we're seeing at ECI is that a lot of the referrals we're getting, the parents are a little bit more aware actually and more accepting that there might be a possible diagnosis of autism. So that kind of gives like a boost of, I guess, let's get the intervention going. And like I said before, one of the programs that we do have, that Pathways program, one of the newer programs is designed specifically for kids with autism, where it can get them on board already and start very early, like as early as 18 months. Even sometimes in earlier, depending on the characteristics, even if they don't have a diagnosis at that point, we can start with the intervention. And we see a lot of success with those interventions. And I think the family already coming in with like, there might be something going on. And I think the trend before, like maybe like 10 years ago, there was no talk of that. It was kind of like taboo to talk about it. And now they're coming in with those topics in mind, and I think it helps because the public's more aware now. So I think it's a good trend going forward.
I just want to say that with Christopher, we took him to his pediatrician, and because he was brother, he told us that he most likely didn't have autism. So then I got the referral. I made him give us a referral to the neurologist, and even then the neurologist told us he doesn't have autism. And so then I took him to a developmental pediatrician, and then that's when they gave me the official. So it took 3 doctors to give me the official diagnosis. And by the time he was like 4, almost 5, it took us like over a year to get an official diagnosis of Christopher. That was our experience.
Thank you for sharing.
So what the data will show is that the prevalence of autism in Laredo is lower.
It's
in other areas of the country.
Yes.
And that has to do with the lack of resources to diagnose it.
And honestly, what everyone said today is part of that. It's culture. It's not accepting. It's the fact that you go somewhere, you get specific response. In the case of them right there, and then you have to go to 2, 3, some people give up by that. And especially, the resources that if you have someone individual autism and let's say they aren't verbal and they are, it's just very minimal symptoms, then they just go undiagnosed, and we don't, it's not caught at the school because the teacher can say the same thing. They're like, they don't, and that's the thing is they have like their specific testing like regimens, and they might not be in a special program. And in the case of our study, it's with school districts and for school sources, they have to be special education. And for the health sources, they need to have an ICD diagnosis, and which is underdiagnosed. Being under lack of resources, having issues with the diagnosis, not enough clinicians that can diagnose you. There's also traveling that the counseling, going out of town, going to whether it's children hospital, Christians, or some other institution out there that provide resources. But it's also a strain that many financial. I don't do that, so there's a lot of barriers that we see here in Laredo that lead to that low prevalence. But based on this, again, the trends what we see nationally, it's right now it's wrong. I know it's number 131. So that's like 1 in every classroom, 1 child in the classroom. Is diagnosed. In our study, we use 8-year-olds because these both based on 14 and 16. But so it's based on 8-year-olds, right there, 1 in 31. But here in Laredo, it's 1 in 1 in 4. So we see a drastic difference there. And it's kind of just an eye-opener because you don't really think about it. Like we see great programs like Eric's talking about the Pathways program. We see other advocacy groups, right, that chime in and they give a lot of great information out there. But the issue is we think that's enough. It's not. We just we're getting more information now, and you can see that not only do we need to promote these existing programs, but find other avenues or actually like support these programs heavily so we can have a better outcome for our individuals who are not community. That's what I think the reason why we have such challenges is because of the many areas, and now we can identify those areas that we need help or that we need to go ahead and
Unfortunately, Laredo struggles from a lack of professional resources and specialties, in many areas. And you can't even get an adult neurologist because we're really only one right?
No, I mean, it's very difficult. We're so medically underserved, right? Now regarding the neurology for, of course, the Alzheimer's cases and those dementias that are extremely high in Laredo, the UT Health Science has what they call the Biggs Institute Research. So they do have a neurologist there in-house for those type, but not for what we're talking about here.
But I think it's very indicative of some of the comments that were mentioned here is that you took 3 physicians for you sent it diagnosed.
Yeah. There's only one, right? I think that's what you said,
Yeah, so when you
Dr. Garza, the
The
neuro
neurologist,
PD.
yes.
Neuro PD, there's only one. He's housed at Gateway.
But we went to see one out of town.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, because
So
The development
there's
project.
a lack of resources. And
Yes.
talk about on finally, I used to work for the local mental health authority, and some patients used to tell me it took me 5 or 7 years to come here. Because every time I would come to the door, I would stop and go around the building, and I would not stop, and so I would go back home. And I did that for years until being diagnosed. And so a lot of these diagnoses go unidentified for years. And then as a parent, I think it's difficult, to take your child and say, I need you to validate the work that I'm seeing. And then the qualifications of that professional are not up to par to the point where they can give you a different diagnosis. That's a challenge as well. So you have several challenges. You have a lack of resources, and the resources that are available will not be trained or have any experience to identify the work that diagnosis in particular. So yes, 90% of it all has a lot of catching up to doing.
You know, I was thinking, I'm wondering if it has a difference, as mentioned to the window right now, if the diagnosis or the age of a doctor and the number of years of practice has a bearing on whether the diagnosis, because I know that the older generation of doctors are more hesitant to give a sharp approval on a diagnosis as opposed to the younger ones to say, you know what, we've done all this research, we've read all this stuff, because they haven't had as many years of practice, so it's their set in their ways. And the older ones are, as opposed to the newer population. So I wonder if a study's been done on that, and that, you know, we have a bearing as the old diagnosis themselves.
And then I was gonna also mention, even, there's that 5% maybe population that even if we did have all the resources and everything was perfect, some parents still refuse to accept it. So they're still in denial, and until, we usually get some of our kiddos that are like in middle school, when it starts hitting, they start hitting puberty, that it's like, okay, something is going on, and they were not diagnosed until 10, 11, when they get to the middle school, and it's like, okay, and then, I mean, especially for, yeah, the higher functioning ones. Okay, so some parents are still, and I tell you because I had a student who was awesome, he was awesome. However, dad never wanted a diagnosis on him. Mom wanted to have tested and everything, and dad would say, no. And he survived, he's out there in the community, has a job and everything, because he's level 1, he doesn't need a lot of intervention, but still, imagine how much further he would have gone if dad would have said, like, yeah, go ahead, but he didn't want that baby. So they're out there.
Is it working? Does it work? Is it working? Can we turn it down?
Also, thank you for the report. We'll keep this in mind. Your comments were Thank you. We're gonna move on to item B. I know some people have asked me to finish short fall, so. We'll try. Next item is report on family support for children and adults, with special needs program based by Ms. Carmen Andrade and English is one of the.
Is it working?
I can go ahead and give updates.
Is it work?
So hi, my name is Kathy. I'm the Health Education and Promotion Manager. I work very closely with Carmen and her program.
It works.
There's only a couple updates you wanted me to give for today, so really short and simple so you guys can be out by 12. I don't know if she's mentioned, but we do have a new case manager part of the program. Her name is Rebecca Segura, and she will be attending the next BRC meeting. So she's very happy to meet you all and see how she can support your families. We have a couple of events coming up. We have a transition to adult planning session hosted by the Texas Video Land Legal Aid on July 8th for families. In case you are interested, I'll tell Carmen to share flyers. But we're very happy to have one of their program managers to come give a presentation on that. She's also working on music therapy and art sessions that are going to come up during July and August. And then she'll be part of the emergency preparedness event, Operation Border Health. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it's going to be July 21 through the 25th. Her program is going to be there, and I think she's going to work alongside another organization there. And she continues to support the All Kinds of Mind Master Plan, along with outreach, education. And we do have an intern that is helping out with that promotion. So we should be getting some numbers in, hopefully, for the next BRC meeting for her to report. And other than that, she's very thrilled to announce there's going to be more updates on the 2 new sensory rooms at Joe Vera and the Kristen Library. She already ordered a bunch of items and they are amazing for the kiddos. So they'll be opening up the last week of July, and we'll share that information for you all. And it's open for all children any age. So we're very happy to share that, and thank you again for your support. She says thank you too.
I'm gonna hop in again really quick.
Yes,
just to go off one of Kathy's points. Operation Border Health, it is, if y'all have attended or assisted or been part of the IP Day, but it is an event we have every year at the end of July. I serve, Ms. Ramos and I will be serving this year as leads, so I'll be the logistics section chief, so I'm in charge of basically supplies, medical supplies, making sure we have food and everything there, right, at the event. But I just wanted to promote it, maybe by next Thursday, I'll send a flyer, or we can also send it out to you all, just in case y'all know families. With the whole point of the event, it's actually an exercise in emergency preparedness. So it's kind of how would we organize ourselves in the case of a disaster, right? How are we gonna set up a school to go ahead and provide aid on mass immunizations and such. So that's the primary goal of this event. But we also use it as a great opportunity to go ahead and provide free medical services for the community. So in case you all have, with our organization, you can share a flyer, and they do back to school physicals, they have medical checkups. We do have RAM attending this year, which they do have do dental and vision. I'm not sure if this year they'll be providing prescription lenses, but we can go ahead and ask that question as well. And also they do blood sugar checks, vision, like I said, vision and hearing, as well as immunization. So in case anyone needs back to school immunizations and they haven't gone, or just they need one specifically, they can go ahead and go to that event too. But it's open to the public. It's going to be at Christian Middle this year, like Ms. Kathy said, from July 21st to the end of the week. And yeah, it's a great opportunity for individuals who don't have access to care, because we go ahead and attend and get the services they need done. But we could go ahead and provide that flyer as well. She jogged my memory, and that's something else I'm working on right now. So I just want to let everybody know as well, so you can share the work, and then you can provide a flyer later on.
Thank you.
If I may interject, I do have another update for the All Kinds of Minds Master Plan. I know our team members have been doing a lot of work in, increasing the momentum with all the initiatives that we are looking at with that. We have submitted for consideration for the Lex Friedman Awards for the Governor's Committee for People with Disabilities, the All Kinds of Minds Master Plan on behalf of the City of Laredo Health Department. Of course, that's partnered thanks to all the great work from the Blue Ribbon Committee and the Autism Coalition. So if we do get some favorable news in the next coming months about that recognition, we'll go ahead and share with the committee. But we're very excited. I know they're looking at the work that we're doing very closely. I know that the Governor's Committee for People with Disabilities, their support staff is looking to connect more with local committees, local mayor appointed committees. So any additional updates I have from them, I'll go ahead and share.
Thank you. Item number 6, any announcements?
I have a few.
Yes, ma'am.
Parks and Rec is in the house. Okay, so I spoke last time about our summer camp, our adaptive summer camp, which has been rolling. It was a limited small camp, but it's been a wonderful experience. Christopher was part of our first week. He's one of our top athletes, and it's been rolling right along. We've had good numbers, and we appreciate the feedback from everyone. So we still have 2 more camps next week. We have STEM. We're finishing up our art week this week. Next week we have a STEM camp, and then the second week of July we have musical theater for our singers and dancers. I did that selfishly, okay? So
You can help.
yes, you can. You have our choir. Yes. Miss Boteo, y'all, from Cherish. She has a choir at Cherish, and they were part of our Rock the Spectrum. I was like, there wasn't even a mic for me.
Their singers, our students are awesome.
They are fabulous.
They like to perform. We are on YouTube, so I was just amazed how they were able to transition to the outdoor. I was all scared because this is the first time, and they loved it. So
they were, yeah, for sure. So I just want to be part of your choir. But not only that, we had Chuito, who was the DJ, and he was like Mr. Social, worse than me. I was like, hey, Chuy, get back over here.
That's my role.
DJ, man. Fabulous group, and it just speaks to the interaction and the expectation and the dreaming vigor. I mean, like, it's great because y'all done music videos.
you know, I've been a fan for years, so.
We just recently did another one in Spanish.
Yeah.
And, they're Frontera, con Frontera, que buena. Both of those students are awesome, as well they sang, and they like to perform, and they want to be included as well as anybody else.
Yes, I was with you. Yes. So yeah, so our camp is moving and grooving, and next year I know that we'll continue to expand. So that's been probably the biggest complaint is like, it's only 10 to 13, like I know, but I had a limited number of resources this year. Next year we'll have more. And I also wanted to talk about two big things that are happening. If you, I don't know if you heard, Sister Cities Festival is coming up in July, and the city has decided to do a 5K. So then I interjected myself again, and we created the Athletes with Disabilities Division. And this is big because this is not just a 5K saying, come on, y'all should just participate. No, you can compete and win in this division. So we created and this is actually, I'm working with this place called Be Able. It's a nonprofit out of Houston, and she actually pays for disabled athletes to compete in different activities. So she's taken 30 people to the New York Marathon this past year, and wheelchairs or hand cycles and stuff. So this is the Athletes with Disabilities, an actual division in 5Ks and races. People are excited about this because we haven't had it official like this. So the mobility impaired actually includes any level of physical disability, but also our cognitive disabilities, the different, this is sort of a little bit of a catch-all at that mobility impaired, the visually impaired, and we have that division, and also the Wheeler division, of course, and each of these divisions has, whoever signs up for these divisions, they can actually have a guide. They can bring their own guide, or we're gonna provide people. I've signed up all my children to do a 5K. I'm like, be ready by July, kids. And anyone else who wants to. The other thing is that we reached out to Clear Choice, and they were really helpful. We created this Make Your Impossible Possible mile. This is going to be that 1 mile, that first mile post, prosthetic, post stroke, post, believing you can't get it done. This is going to be that impossible mile. And anyone who signs up with me it's free. They get a shirt, they get a finisher medal, and they can have a guide or a partner with them. And if they don't have somebody, we'll provide somebody. I have voluntold so many people about this. So we'll have people for this. This is big because, I'm a little nervous, right? It's our first time, but we have 2 big events coming up later on down the line, and this will be a good practice session for that in the 5K. So we have our airport 10K and half marathon, and then of course the Laredo full marathon, which is a Boston qualifier. So our next goal is to create this Athletes with Disabilities division that also qualifies them for Boston. So our next goal is to work in that place. So I would like this to go out as much as possible. I'm going to send it out to you all, and maybe you can just start pushing this out. I've spoken to people like McAllen, San Antonio area, and they're excited because they don't have a lot of runs that actually have a specific division where they're gonna win prizes in. And then the other thing is, I did something for our 18 plus group. We have our Saturdays in the summer. Again, very selfishly, the first one is line dancing. And so this is free to the public. These 3 events are free to the public. Caretakers, family members are welcome to join. Anyone is. And the Laureates are helping us with this one, and this will be line dancing, noon to 1:30. And then July will be a circuit training with our modified group. They're going to bring all their cool equipment, and again, an adaptive, circuit training, and anyone can do it. And again, we encourage people to bring caretakers or a partner. And then Bocce Ball will be in August. And additionally, we're working with LC to use their pool to have a seniors or 18 over night at the pool. So mocktails, I'm just kidding. So it's going to be something for the older group that we want to, and we think about like the cherished group, right? And older, who there's no, real activities yet for them. We're keeping them, tell them about my fun little line dancing. And so, so we are creating activities. I want y'all to know that we are moving and shaking on this. We just had our press release this morning with Ruth B. Cowell. They're going to host the camp at Haynes. So It'll be fun for them, it's great for the parents, but also good for us at Haynes. We're just gonna get better at what we do by seeing, the experts in action. So we're moving and grooving, y'all, I promise. It's happening. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Also, y'all feel free to sign up for the 5K.
Quick question for the, because I will definitely share this with my population, like the visually impaired and my young adults and just all ages, right, that I have. So you mentioned they can sign up to even just do that 1 mile.
Right.
Like if it's their very first
Yes, ever.
trying it out,
Yes.
like just in itself.
So there's an online, so this is the problem, is that the online with the walk with me is free. There is a walk that's $10, right, to cover expenses. But Clear Choice has said if you have athletes with disabilities who want to do the 1 mile, we'll pay for it. But however, the sign up doesn't like free slots. So you have to actually sign up with me or email me. I'm going to email y'all out the actual registration.
Be specific about that so people know.
Yes, so I've been trying to get that out.
So
It's
Clear
on
Choice is
here.
sponsoring
Clear
the.
Choice is sponsoring the 1 mile, and I will email y'all, and even they can sign up that day of the race, which I know feels uncertain, but I promise you we can have people sign up that day of the race. Yeah, for some reason, I've been working with the people who are the timing people because, I needed better information on the sign up. One of the things, for instance, our visually impaired or even our persons in wheelchairs, I've had a hard time reaching out to this part of our community because they don't feel comfortable, right, in places that they're not certain about. And so if anyone has a way that I can reach out.
Think about the therapy, occupational
Yes.
clinics, all those, they've got.
So I'll be reaching out to y'all, and I have a few-
Prosthetics.
I went through I made a list from my Google search, and so I'm physically going out there to reach out to this population because I think it's just important for them to know we're a safe zone and that we can only get better by them coming out and participating with us. Yes.
I have something to add, something that you might want to consider, having worked with individuals with disabilities my whole life. One of the things is that they want to contribute back to the community. So instead of approaching where you want to participate, would you like to be a mentor?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's
Because
a
the
good idea.
mentorship program, even with veterans, some of the approaches we've had work a lot with veterans in the San Antonio
I
area.
like that.
Not so much about that, but what happens is my approach is always, look at what you're going to contribute to the community. So the contribution to the community sometimes is a better catch than saying you want to be part of the program.
Right, yeah.
Because they
that's a
see
good one.
themselves as mentors.
Right, I get you, and I think that's a great idea, and I would love to make those contacts with people because I hear about things, but I don't know how to actually, pull people in.
Like with the VA clinic or the WF.
Right.
Mentorship program.
Well, and I have a few people that have come from Laredo Specialty or Ruth B. Cal who finished their OT or PT, and they're coming they have come to Haynes because this is what they can afford at this point.
Right.
With prosthetics so I've been chatting with them, and at least 1 or 2 of them are going to get their first mile done in July. So it's cool. Also, y'all, that the adaptive gym that I've been talking about that has been in theory, it's actually going to happen. We got all of our equipment in, and so we'll be having a ribbon cutting in the first week of July. So I'll be writing all of y'all. So, we want to connect all these things, and when we have activities like a 5K, it actually puts a goal to their daily workouts or to their daily recovery.
And it brings community together.
Yes.
Common cause.
And they get a finisher medal. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
So, I believe that we're gonna have a little bit of a slow start to it, but I hope that as we continue to put the information out there, we can create a safe zone for people who are maybe wouldn't have ventured out otherwise.
So what group would it be involved?
You would qualify for the age for the age division 5K.
And people can be
Or
volunteers.
the even just getting the walk done. A lot of people, we put pressure on ourselves, like I'm not athletic or I haven't done this. I'm struggling right now physically, but I went you know, I went through my own transition, and it started with that first block and that first half mile. And then that first mile, I remember walking around San Agustin, hitting my first mile, walking, my thighs like itching and burning, and like this all wrong. And it was ugly, but I got it done, and then I became an Ironman. So I think that it's important that we talk about the baby steps and the little things, but encourage those like goals, you know, that we can go beyond just, you know, like even that gym. I have like, yes, the smaller weights, but I got 50-pound weights too. Miss Stanley was like, why are we ordering that? I'm like, because we are to have somebody. I mean, you know? Yeah.
Can I suggest a name for that group? It's called the Young and Fart.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a perfect name. I would join that.
Young at heart. I say come join us for the walk. And I believe that we also set the example for the people around us. And that even if you've never done it, we can do it at any age. And I'm a firm believer in that. So as many times as I can create the opportunity, I will.
Okay, just send one to, your baby.
Yes, I'm actually gonna talk to all the coaches. They're gonna be like, she's back? I'm like, no, no, not that.
I think I would just.
Like South football players are gonna help me with that.
Two announcements.
Okay, Cecilia, let's speak.
So I have two announcements. One, February 13th, Night to Shine. You have any dresses that you would want to donate? We're already gathering dresses this year for next year. And second, our church is going to start a church choir. We have two individuals who led the what is it called? The Cigarroa band. What do you call those people? The kids that do the band. Band majors. Two of them.
Drum makers.
They happen to be related to me, and I told them, I said, like she said, voluntold, you know, you guys have talent, we need to do something. And then one of them has a friend of theirs who does choir. So we're believing that we're gonna place that together, and the idea is to do not as a church choir, but a city choir for us. So keep us in prayer, because I sing in the shower, but I think it's gonna be fun and diverse, and we're looking forward to it.
And our friends to the first.
Yes.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You adjourn?
We'll see y'all next week.
Adjourn?
Second.
Motion is on.